As one year ends and another begins, it's good to take a moment and pause and take some time to look back without feeling like we need to rush and fix everything. And then also to look forward without feeling like we need to have everything figured out, but to have some guidelines and some goals in place. So that's what this video is. It's a look back at 2025 and a look ahead at 2026 for my YouTube channel and a little bit about me as a person, because it's hard to talk about YouTube and talk about making videos without talking about some parts of your personal life. The channel in 2025 really grew a lot. It grew more than I had ever anticipated or imagined. And I will talk a little bit about how that has two sides. So when I started, I had expected that 1,000 would be like a huge achievement. It would be a massive goal and somehow it'd be really satisfying to have 1,000 subscribers. It is an achievement and it is a big goal. I mean, YouTube, celebrates you when you hit 1,000. There are some kind of statistics that are kind of tossed about that are not entirely accurate. I think they get misquoted. Some people say like only the top 8 or 9% of YouTube channels have 1,000 or more subscribers. I think that's an outdated statistic. The last time I Googled it recently, and it was more like the top 20% have 1,000 subscribers. That's still a huge achievement. And that's, if you're in the top 20%, you have more than the lower 80%. So it's nothing to bat an eye at. But my point here is that although I have what seems to be a lot of subscribers, I don't get a lot of views. So it's a weird kind of thing. And I think there's two things happening on that. And I've kind of researched it and I've kind of thought about it a little bit. One thing that's happened is, and this is a bit of like kind of looking into the crystal ball of the YouTube algorithm that people talk about, that no one understands. And I think even the people at YouTube don't fully understand it. But YouTube doesn't necessarily value subscribers the way that it used to, or that metric doesn't translate to more impressions the way that it used to. And impressions are when YouTube starts suggesting your video in various ways to people who don't normally watch your videos. So to make that a little more concise, just because you have a lot of subscribers doesn't mean you're always going to get a lot of viewers. And that's what's happening to me. I have what seems to be a growing and a large number of subscribers, but they don't really watch a lot of my videos. And that's because I seem to have attracted an audience that doesn't watch my videos. And I think that's largely due to a overblown controversy that my channel that I was caught up in last summer, about 6 months ago, 6 months from making this video. I had a huge boost in subscribers about a video that is not even available on my channel anymore, and it was taken down quite quickly. But those people came to my channel for the controversy, and I don't really have a lot of other controversy on my channel. I have a lot of book videos on my channel. So I need to change that. And I'm going to talk about that in the second half of this video with my goals. Some other things that have happened, like I quit twice. I quit once because of the controversy, and it wasn't like a big spat. I didn't have like a public throwing my toys out of the pram moment. Although I will say this, I found a video recently where someone claims that I made a video saying I would quit and I was crying and I was a big baby about it. Not true at all. If you know anything about me, I'm a quiet quitter. I know how to walk away from a situation for better and for worse. But I quit once over that controversy because I just felt like, okay, this is not fun. There's a lot of negativity. There were a lot of comments about my mental health, about my physical appearance, about where I work, my line of work. I mean, I'm a teacher. People were going after me for that in the comments of those videos. And I just felt like, okay, why would anyone want to be a part of this? So I kind of quit. I kind of hit the pause button. I quit a couple months after that too, because again, just out of like, it just wasn't fun anymore. And that fun kind of relates back to some setbacks that I've had mentally and physically. 2025 was a pretty rough year, especially the second half of the year. I started 2025 really strong. I was doing really well. I was really healthy. My mental health was very good. And then over the summer, some family issues and a few other things just presented some setbacks that I just wasn't prepared for. And they still impact my life, but I guess I'm just kind of learning to endure them a little bit more. But they are going to shape, the rest of my life going forward. But I eventually found that the channel was a good outlet and a good kind of creative outlet. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Other things that happened in 2025, I told some coworkers about my channel, which I've had my channel for years. I never really told people about it, and I kind of started to now. That's been an interesting experience. Some people are really blown away by it. Not really blown away, but I mean, some people were really surprised because I'm a really introverted person. I don't go out for drinks with people on the weekends, which is a huge thing here. And people just find that really odd. I live in a really quiet part of Shanghai. I live really close to my school. It's a really quiet area. It's a quiet neighborhood, and I actually really like it. It's just a really simple, really quiet life. And so people were surprised that I make videos and that I've made as many videos as I have. So some people are surprised about that. It's also led to some negative attention because I had started a second channel just to discuss living in China and working in China and living abroad. I've lived abroad for a lot longer than I had initially planned for. I've been abroad since 2007, so it's going on 18 years now. But I had to take some of that content down because of some negative attention from coworkers. So there's that. Lesson learned there. Some good things did happen this year, though. I mean, I launched a Patreon. Not to get rich. When there was a lot of controversy around my channel, I was accused quite a bit. I'm laughing because it's just so preposterous, but I was accused of wanting to get rich and trying to be some sort of like YouTube grifter. Like, seriously, if I wanted to get rich, would I be sitting here talking about books? No, I'd be like trying to sell people, shit crypto coins or, dodgy real estate or something like that. I mean, come on. I'm a school teacher. I like to read. I clearly have not chosen a path of great financial wealth. I'm the kind of person that doesn't really care much about money. I think you just work and you have enough for yourself. So the Patreon, I'm not doing it for money. It's really cheap. It's $5. I guess I'm plugging it right now. There's not much there right now, but it's going to grow over time. I did it for a couple of reasons. One is I want to have a place to put videos that's not on YouTube because maybe YouTube won't be around forever, or, there could be some changes to YouTube that I don't want to be a part of. And I want to have a secondary place to have my videos. Right now, I put content there that I don't put on YouTube as a way to kind of reward subscribers, because if you find my Patreon, you're probably watching some of my videos. So I don't want to double up on content there. But I am starting to do other things there that are going to be launching this year. That's going to include writing. I've got a weekly newsletter going out of just kind of a roundup of what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, what's going on in life. And I'm also going to be doing some audio content because I write a lot of essays, and I've experimented with publishing them on Substack, which is okay. But I also want to experiment with doing audio recordings of them and sharing them online there and probably sending them out with my newsletter. So I just kind of want to have a different outlet to do different types of content. And I guess I'm already talking about my goals for 2026. So to take a step back at a higher level, I need to be kinder to myself. I need to not be so hard on myself. I am kind of my own worst critic. And that relates to YouTube and to creating content because I tend to hold back. I've made countless videos that I'd never published. And I probably should have. I probably should have just pulled the trigger on it and just put it out there and tried to learn from it. So I need to be a little kinder to myself. I need to let myself make, more mistakes. Along with that too, I want to make more personalized content and less opinionated content. And this ties back to my big controversy last year. I want to make content, and I think I've already started and I'm already kind of in this lane now, but making content that's more insightful and more useful for others. And hopefully that content is going to be more evergreen and more, more positive. On a similar note, I'm just going to publicly say this. I'm never going to make another video about BookTube ever again. not even about my own experience, and not even giving what I think is like plain and unopinionated advice, because for a couple of things, it's not my place to judge anyone. It's not my place to give unsolicited advice. And I find that even when you're making, very middle of the road statements, very factual statements, not in a very opinionated way, it still gets misinterpreted. It still gets spun around. And so even when you make your opinion really, really clear, then it gets even more misinterpreted. So it's just like, let's just not go there. I guess what I'm saying is those kinds of videos, when you make a video about making videos for anything on YouTube, but particularly for BookTube, those videos will do really well. The videos about BookTube are the best BookTube videos in terms of performance, but it attracts the wrong audience. It attracts a negative, gossipy audience. It's not a positive audience. And those subscribers won't watch your real content. They won't watch your book reviews. You might get lucky and you might attract someone who likes controversy and also likes the books that you like, but it's highly, I think that's pretty rare. And of course, someone will prove me wrong in the comments section below, but whatever, that's the internet. So I guess that's another way of saying, like, I'm just going to kind of stay in my lane now. And I'm not saying that to limit myself. Actually, I find that kind of freeing and I find that kind of expansive. So like I talked about with my Patreon, I'm going to make more content about reading and about being a reader and how reading can have a really positive impact in your life, and that it's not something that you have to optimize. It's not something that needs to be performative. It's something about becoming a well-rounded and quieter and more reflective person. So you're going to find that kind of content here and also on my Patreon, which, like I said before, is going to be a little more varied. There'll be some writing, there'll be some audio, and of course there'll be videos and book reviews there too. In terms of my reading, and I probably should have kicked off with this because maybe that's why people wanted to watch this, and here we are 10 to 12 minutes later and I'm not talking about reading, but I'm going to be reading a lot more genre fiction. For the first half of the year and mainly throughout the year, I'm going to focus on science fiction and horror and other kind of dark books that are adjacent to those genres. Of course, I will read some literary fiction, but I'm more interested in literary fiction that borrows from science fiction or from horror or even from crime and noir. And I'm more interested in crime, noir, science fiction, horror that borrow from literary fiction. I find that when the two overlap, that's really, really good writing. And I think that's the really interesting and the really great stuff. I'd also like to do more collabs, more collaborations with other booktubers and other creators out there. So for January, I'm doing a buddy read with the Lit Wizard, and we'll do a video together. But I'm kind of curious if there's maybe other ways, and I need to do some thinking and get a little creative about how to also collaborate in other ways with other booktubers, just to try and make a wider variety of content that, again, is going to be insightful and it's going to be useful for others. So that's all I wanted to share today. Just a pause, a look back, and a look forward. If you'd like to reflect a little too, the comment section is open. I'm always interested to hear how other readers and other creators think about moments like this. So in case you don't know, my name's Carl, and this has been Please Read Your Book.